Storytime leaking. There's this thing that used to happen to me when I'd sleep that I can't really explain. It's been a long time, and doesn't happen anymore, so the details might be fuzzy. But I'll do my best to explain everything. Sometimes when I would fall asleep, it was almost like I was looking through other people's eyes. I knew I was in my bed, and I knew I was asleep, but the people that I talked to, and the things that I felt were always so real, to the point that I would usually wake up crying or laughing. But there was one time I woke up screaming. The dreams had always been with people I didn't recognize, and in places I wasn't familiar with. Well, that is until the time I learned they might not be dreams at all. To be honest, I'm still not completely sure of everything that happened, but I'll do my best to explain it. I got home from school, and decided I would take a nap. It seemed like almost immediately I was somewhere else. I was a teenage boy, but in the dream I knew I was a lady with brown hair, and I knew I was terrified. At first, I couldn't see anything in the dream. It was pitch black, and the only thing I could hear was the sound of my own heartbeat. Then there were footsteps, and that made my heart beat even faster. It was at that moment that I realized this lady was hiding. I didn't know from who or what, but I knew my life was in danger. I kept trying to wake up, but I just stayed there in the dark holding my breath. Then out of nowhere, all of this light flooded my eyes, and before I knew it, I was being dragged across the floor. I was begging someone named Tom not to hurt me, and I was telling him he didn't have to do this. Everything was such a blur, and then the pain started, first in my lower back, then to the side of my head, and I looked up, just in time to see a knife coming straight towards my face. I felt every bit of it, and I just wanted it to be over, but it wasn't. I laid there staring at this one spot on the wall while I listened, and waited for Tom to leave, and he did. I started crawling to get help, and while I looked up and down the street in my dream, I realized it was my neighborhood in real life. I was trying to crawl to the house across the street when I saw a car coming up the road. I remember feeling relief until it hit me that it was Tom's car. I tried to scream, but nothing would come out, and before I knew it, Tom was putting me in the trunk of his car, and that's when I woke up screaming. I recognized the house from my dream, so I thought I would walk over and make myself feel better, but that did not go like I planned. When I got to the street, everything looked exactly like my dream, but everything seemed calm, and nothing seemed out of place. I was just about to convince myself that it was all just a dream when I saw something that made my stomach drop. I stood there and stared at the car from my dream in absolute disbelief. Something in the trunk was leaking.